understand that love can be manifested in many different ways. It's not just about feeling stuff in your heart. Of course, that's an important component, but it can be manifested as life purpose, career, business. It can manifest as your relationships. It can manifest in the way that you carry yourself, in the way that you think about yourself, in the way that you think about the world, in your politics, in the way that you exercise compassion, masculine compassion versus feminine compassion. I have an episode about the difference between those two. You can go search for that. It's an interesting difference. So there's a lot of ways that love gets manifested in the world, because love is sort of an abstract thing in the same way that intelligence is a very abstract thing, and intelligence has to get manifested in some sort of material ways for you to really connect with it a lot of times. It's hard for most people to connect to pure, abstract, essential intelligence, and same thing with love. For example, Actualized.org is a material manifestation of my love for reality. So what I did is I spent a good 10 to 20 years cultivating my love for reality, for philosophy, for psychology, for personal development, for understanding, for insight, for consciousness. I've cultivated that over thousands of hours with deliberate planning and strategy and hard work, putting all of this together such that then it gets materialized as these videos and this channel and this website. And most people, when they see it, they don't see the love. They just see a website and some videos and a YouTube channel and some talking head up here. And maybe some of them say, oh, this is some interesting, cool stuff. Oh, there's something special about some of these teachings. Maybe they think, but they don't realize that all of this is my love for the universe that I've channeled deliberately, not accidentally, very, very deliberately, against all sorts of fears and personal weaknesses and limitations and my own ego and my own narcissism. Against all of those obstacles, I had to work through to be able to put this out here and share this with the world. And why do I do that? Because I love it. Because that's what I found I love the most about reality, is the insights that I have. I love exploring the way the mind works. I love exploring human psychology. I love exploring consciousness. I love teaching it. I love explaining it. I love coming up with little metaphors and examples and all of this. I love that. Now, you might not love that, which means you don't need to do the same thing I do. You got to find what that is for you. Your career needs to be an expression of your love for the world. Otherwise, why are you doing it? You're wasting your time. Your relationships need to be an expression of your love for the world. Otherwise, why are you wasting your time? Imagine what it would be like if you spent the next 20 years aligning every domain of your life, from your work to your finances, to your relationships, to your health, to your fitness, to everything, to the way that you think, the way that you feel, the way you speak. All of it was aligned to maximize love. A genuine expression of your love in every one of those categories. Think about how your life would be then. Right now, if you're like the typical person, you're only tapping into maybe 5% of your potential as far as love goes. The other 95% of your heart is closed. You're not manifesting and expressing love in all these different domains. And so what you have is a weak, loveless sort of life. That's what you've got. You're not tapped into the power of love. Love is the greatest power. You want to transform the quality of your life? Tap into love. But you can't do it. Why not? Because you're too weak. You're too selfish. You're too narcissistic. You're too scared. You're too left-brained. You're too wrapped up in all sorts of ideologies and judgments and opinions. Your libertarianism, your You're fighting against the social justice warriors. You're this, you're that. You're fighting for your religion. You're fighting against that race. You're fighting against those people. You have enemies. And because of that, you have a weak life. What do you really want from your life? Do you want to love your life? Well, how are you going to love your life if you don't have the capacity to love? You're only going to be able to love your life as high as your capacity to love. And most people's capacity is so low. The glass ceiling is so low. That's where growth comes in. That's what you're growing yourself for, is to be a more loving human being, a more loving leader. You know, to be a great leader, you gotta be a powerful lover. Leaders who can't love, they become tyrants. And they become hated. And they go down as disgraces in human history. And those leaders that can love powerfully, they become idolized. And they become memorialized, and entire religions get started around them. That's how powerful love is. That's how rare it is. It's so rare that when a person comes along that can love unconditionally, indiscriminately, and surrender his entire life, this is such a powerful and motivating force that an army rallies around him. And he gets deified as a god. Like literally, that's what happens. But it happens so rarely that there's handfuls of these kinds of people throughout human history. You can count them on a couple of hands. That's how powerful love is. And you can see that because it's so rare, that there must be a great cost that's paid. Because otherwise everyone would do it. Everyone would be Jesus. But everyone is not Jesus. Why not? Because they're just too damn selfish. Because it's just so counterintuitive. All of this growth stuff is so counterintuitive. It requires enormous intelligence and consciousness to bust through all the self-deceptions within you, all the fears and all the rationalizations and all the ideologies, to bust through that, to escape the labyrinth of your own mind. It requires incredible intelligence. Luckily, you have a connection to infinite intelligence, which you can develop. Luckily, you are made out of consciousness. All you got to do is just develop it. To create a great life, you need to summon the courage to tap into love. Cowards do not have great lives because cowards cannot love. And love requires the greatest courage.